What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. Today, I just wanted to take another minute to give another little semi-rant about something that's been on my mind lately. It's been definitely bothering my brain for a while, but I've been thinking about it more and more lately. And that's studio involvement in motion pictures, okay? It happens all across the board in all movies, big, small, independent, large movies. Studio gets involved all the time. Not in every movie, but it happens more often than you'd think. Most of the time, it's big budget movies. It's movies that they have a lot invested in, right? Which makes sense. They want to make sure they make their money back, right? So they want to get in as involved as possible to make sure that they're going to make their money back and then some. So that brings me to the studio's job. The purpose of studio executives and producers is to get the ball rolling. Hire the right people, figure out the budget, and make sure you hire the most qualified people to do all of the necessary jobs on the film. There's hundreds of them, so I'm not going to go list them all. Everywhere from the director, to the casting, to the stars, to the special effects, to all the people in the background that have jobs that the average moviegoer knows nothing about. Okay? So the job of the studio execs is to hire the right people, make sure they're trying to get the best talent they can for the money, figure out what that budget is, what that money is, and, of course, market the movie and all of that. Okay? But their job is not to write the movie, to tell the talent how to produce, to make this movie. So their job is not to tell this actor to act this way, or this director to direct this scene that way, or to edit this scene that way. That's not their job. That's not their function in the movie making world. Their function is purely to get the ball rolling and make sure the money that they need to make the film is there. That's their function. And of course, they want to hire the right people to get that money back and then some, like I said. But more often, well, I'm not going to say more often than not, but nowadays, when you're dealing with big budget movies, almost every time the studio is actually inserting themselves into the creative process of making a movie. So people that have no business being in that process are pushing themselves in that process because they write the checks and nobody can tell them, no, you can't be part of this process. So think of it on a business standpoint. This is like the owner of a company or the boss of a company micromanaging and trying to do everything. Try to get their nose into every aspect of the business instead of delegating and having faith and hiring the right people that you can have faith in to do all of these jobs that one person could not do. And if you're not qualified, then you shouldn't. Just because you own a business doesn't mean you are qualified to run it or to oversee it or to work in it. Am I saying that movie execs and movie producers are unqualified to be in the movie business? No. But are they artists? No. They're businessmen. They understand business. They understand money and numbers and decimal points. They don't understand art. They don't understand the creativeness that goes into it. They think, oh, that made money, so if we do the same thing as that, we will make money too. That's not what the creative process is about. Yes, sometimes when being creative, you borrow ideas, but it's not saying Avengers made money because it was a superhero team. So now if we copy that, and I'm not bashing Justice League or DC, I'm just saying any movie in general. If we copy that formula of the Avengers or any successful movie, doesn't even have to be a superhero movie. If we copy that format, we will make money too. And that's not what it's about. So I just want to ramble off a few movies that have been ruined by studio interference. And you can look it up. There's hundreds hundreds of movies that had one vision going in, and because the studio made people change their minds, that vision was altered, and we got a garbage product instead of what possibly could have been a good product. It could have still been garbage. But we'll never know because the creative people involved were not allowed to do their jobs properly. So, you have Ghostbusters on 2016, the new one with the old lady cast, which wasn't the problem, by the way. Studio interference changed most of that movie. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they wanted to build a cinematic universe and catch up with the MCU, just like what DC's doing. And it ruined the movie because they tried to cram stuff in it that didn't belong in it, and it made the movie not work. Almost everything that DC has done in movies so far has been studio noses in it. Everything has been getting altered and changed on the fly. And how can a movie, especially a shared universe of multiple movies, work? If you keep changing things on the fly, nothing is going to feel cohesive and everything's going to be a mess, just like it's been. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. That's Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, great movies. Great superhero movies. Great action movies. But the third one was ruined. I still enjoy it, but it wasn't as good as it should have been, coming from the director and coming from those writers and coming from the first two movies in that franchise. Spider-Man 3 was very underwhelming. Why? The studio forced Sam Raimi in a direction he didn't want to go. Hancock with Will Smith. That movie was supposed to be an adult, gritty movie that had superheroes in it. But it was altered to make it kid-friendly to get those PG-13 sales. When we see now with Deadpool and Logan, it could have been an adult movie made for adults, not even rated R. Just more of an adult movie with an adult ending, which is what they originally had. But all that was altered because the studio wanted to make PG-13. The old Super Mario movie? Alright, how good could it really have been? It's Mario Brothers. But the filmmakers in that wanted to go one direction. The studio made them go in another direction, which ultimately turned it into a mess. Fantastic Four, the new one that came out in 2005. We all know what a debacle that was. Josh Trank actually shot a different movie than we saw. Was that movie any good? Who knows? But one thing I can tell you, it had more action. It had more story. It didn't end the way that the one that was released ended, the 2005 Fantastic Four. I think it was 2005 or 15. 2015, sorry. And the 2000 Fantastic Four movie also had the studio coming in and undercutting everything that Tim Story was trying to do with that movie. Hey, maybe it wouldn't have been drastically different, but who knows? Because people that didn't belong in the storytelling process stuck their big noses in. I only got a couple more. RoboCop 2014. That movie was totally changed and turned into PG-13. That was not the original vision that they had when they remade it. They wanted to go rated R. They wanted to make it more dark and gritty the way the original was. But studio involvement. Live Free or Die Hard, which Die Hard 4, we'll call it, which to me wasn't terrible. If you watch the unrated one, it's actually pretty good and it fits in. But the one in the movies was the first PG-13 entry in a rated R series. And you noticed it because he cursed, but they would cut the scene. The way they edited it was yippee-ki-yay, mother, and then they cut it. So it felt out of place. That movie would have done much better had it been rated R and felt like a Die Hard movie the way it did in the director's cut, which still wasn't perfect, but it's a vast improvement on the theatrical release. And then my favorite of all, Alien 3. Fine director. Look up the director. I'm not even going to tell you his name. Go look up the director and look at all the work he's done and see how Alien 3 fits into that work. I'll tell you how. He wanted to do one thing, and there was one thing planned to do, which would still follow Ripley and Michael Bihn's character Hicks and Newt. It still followed them, the continuation of their story, but everything was changed. Everything was altered to fit a certain budget and a certain idea the studio had for it, and it ultimately made Alien 3 almost unwatchable. Do I still like it? Yeah, but that's a nostalgia reason. It came from my teenage years, and I have such a fondness for the Alien and Predator world. So, but those are just a list of a few movies that were ruined by studio interference. Stop micromanaging. You hire a talented director to do Suicide Squad like David Ayer. Let him make the movie he wanted. And then maybe people won't shit on it constantly. Zack Snyder, you only hired him to run your show because he's a yes man. He'll do whatever the studio wants him to do. Let him make his film. I like Watchmen. I like 300. So maybe if he was allowed to make a movie without the studio telling him you have to do this, you have to do that, maybe he would have been able to build something better with Batman vs. Superman. But we'll never know. Just like all these other movies. Oh, X-Men Origins Wolverine was another one, which ruined what could have been a great franchise. But when the first movie in the franchise sucks, come on, even though Logan was amazing, it didn't ruin Logan. Logan was great. But think about how much better Logan would have been if it was the final movie in a great Wolverine trilogy. But we didn't get that because we got studio involvement. It happened in the Wolverine too, where a lot of things were changed. James Mangold's original vision was changed from the studio and toned down in the second Wolverine movie also. But look at Logan. They gave Mangold the reins. Him and Hugh Jackman did what they felt they should do. And look at how amazing that movie is. Even if you take out all the F-bombs, even if you take out all the graphic violence, it's a great movie. Once it makes it on to regular TV, it's still going to be a great movie when they cut all that stuff. So, my point is in this rant is studios, executives, producers, please do your job. Hire the talent. Hire the best writers. Hire the best directors. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Hire all the right people. And let them do what they do. And I guarantee you, you will have a better critical response from your movies. You'll put out more consistent quality because it's the filmmakers, it's the artists, it's the actors, it's the writers. That's who creates your gold. So when you take that power away from them and you play God, the world comes crashing down on you. Look at the history of movies where this has happened. Movies are being ruined by executives coming in and changing an artist's vision. It's happened for a long time, but it's getting worse and worse. Now with everyone trying to compete with what's out there making money, MCU, Fast and the Furious, whatever, these rated R now, comic book movies, now everyone's trying to jump on that bandwagon. That's not what sells. You don't say, Logan, Deadpool, they're rated R. That's what sells. Let's make rated R movies. No. What sells is letting directors like the director of Deadpool, like the director of Logan, like most of the MCU directors, let them make their vision. And I say most of the MCU directors because there is studio tinkering over there too, which is why we get Age of Ultron instead of what Joss Whedon would have given us without having to alter things. So it even happens to studios that I like and movies that I enjoy. All right, this rant's getting a little too long. Chime in down below. Let me know what you think about the studio involvement. Should the suits be sticking their noses in to oversee their investment? Or should they keep their big nose out of it, hire the right people, and then have faith in those people to put out a quality product? Which is obviously how I feel about it. So sound off down below. Let me know what you think. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. Because I think I want to do a series of these where I talk about the individual movies and how the studio affected these movies individually. Like, for instance, I'll do a video just about Alien 3 and telling you how the studio involvement possibly ruined that movie. So let me know what you think. Should I do more of those? If you don't feel like leaving a comment, let me know in the likes. Share, subscribe, sub, all that good stuff. Help me grow, help me build, help me improve. And thank you so much for watching this video. That's it. I'm done for this one. You guys have a good day, and I will see you next time.